Ahoy listeners, welcome to the Yonko Podcast with me, Alex Chuan, and our crew, Burke and Brock. Chapter 1037 is fucking crazy, and let's just get to it. Shit is absolutely off the wall. All this and so much more on today's episode of the Yonko Podcast. Let's jump right in, let's set sail. You actually started?
Yeah, it's starting right now.
Ah, chapter 37, SHURON HAKKE! I think I'm saying it right.
SHURON HAKKE.
And we are back with the fucking Germa cover story. So happy about this. We got Judge, and we've got the daughter, Reiju, and the eldest son, Ichiji, hanging out on a broke-back boat. Broke-back boat.
A broke-back snail castle.
We are missing Mr. Winch guy, and we are missing Mr. Electric Dude. Niji and Yonji.
Like, why can't you just say their names?
I like their epitaphs that I've made first.
Okay.
But anyway,
Winch guy.
Clearly, they're doing okay. They don't seem to be worried. They're getting out of Big Mom's territory.
Guys, Judge lets out a heavy sigh.
He does.
Yeah, that's all we get out of this. Happy to see them.
Happier than you'd expect.
I know.
I mean, yes. And we talked about that for our last.
They've really grown on me.
It's weird.
Queen, I feel like, has been a device that has made me love and appreciate them more. Because Queen messes with their kind of
here's
coolness.
the thing, I've never hated Sanji's siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck Judge.
Oh, Judge.
Judge.
Until such a time that he admits remorse or sorrow for what he did to Sanji, fuck Judge.
It's interesting to me that he's, of the family, he's one of the few that can show emotions, and he's just so emotionless about it when it comes to Sanji.
I feel
But he was crying like a bitch in whole.
That's the thing, is when you grow up thinking yourself better than everyone else, it's so much easier to use others as a science project than to be the science project yourself.
In any case, I am very excited to see where this all ends up. I am hoping that it ends up with some sort of team-up, whether it be the Grand Fleet of the Straw Hats, whether it be a different, royal encounter. Look, I mean, Germa has a weird road ahead. They've allied with the Yonko, lost their, reverie privileges, broke off that relationship to save Sanji and themselves. Now,
there's no telling where they'll go from here.
Now, what do they do? Probably why he's letting out a heavy sigh.
Probably.
So,
sure.
Judge is like, fuck.
A lot of his choices have led him to this.
Yeah. But hey, they're alive. That's something.
So as we open up the chapter, we cut to the flower capital of Wano.
All these plebs.
The fire festival is also coming to a close. You've had way too much. I know, you idiot. This is the only day of the year I can drink it all. After tonight, it's back to our country's bitter reality. Right, Hiroshi? Quiet. You never know if one of his agents is around. Seems the festival is starting to wind down. They're getting the sky lanterns ready. Time to write your wishes for our ancestors to see. Will they really make them come true? Of course. And as they're writing, I want to see my mom again. Oh, food for the kids.
Sorry, kid, your mom's dead. Sorry. You actually, Kaido will grant your wish very shortly. You'll see your mom very soon.
God, they could make all of these wishes of the genie guy. If only he could get up a fucking waterfall. And he could be like, no, I only smash things.
that would be quite funny.
Right. But with that, we return to Roof Peace and a battle that I honestly was a little bit... I was expecting a little bit of this battle, but we get
a lot.
We get some great shit out of
whole dang chapter.
Meanwhile, Onigashima continues its approach.
Why are you drinking?
Because I'm having fun. You want a swig? The capital is celebrating the fire festival today. And we were supposed to host a grand banquet here on Onigashima. Although you pretty much ruined that.
You're totally wasted. You better not use this as an excuse when you lose. Take that, power scalers. If you fucking Kaido loses this battle, don't you fucking use drunkenness as an excuse.
Well, especially because of his response.
Yeah.
You dumbass. Getting drunk won't weaken me. And I've already acknowledged your strength. I can't remember the last time I was challenged to a serious one-on-one fight. Woo! Hey there, SHURON HAKKE. Laughing drunk. Ragnarok!
Snap, snap, snap.
First up,
snap.
I already fucking love this version of Kaido right now. It's so great to see him having the time of his life for this moment in time.
I swear, there's like a past version of himself is kind of coming back in this
Absolutely.
moment.
Well, I think he's seeing this in his fights with Whitebeard and Roger.
Can I ask a real quick question?
Yeah, sure.
When do you think his last serious one-on-one fight was? Now, my first thought was Odin, but I've also thought of perhaps Shanks at Marineford.
Shanks is the only thing that might have been even remotely
Yeah,
close.
probably Shanks comes
Depending on the sources you read and depending on the opinions you read, Shanks was only just holding him off, whereas I like to think it was a little bit more even. Not necessarily Shanks on Kaido's level quite yet, but I don't know. That's my opinion.
My thought on Shanks would be that he didn't want to kill Kaido. I don't think
No,
he
of
was
course.
attempting that. But
He
I think
just wanted to keep him from coming up and backstabbing Whitebeard, making the war even worse than it already was.
Right.
Honestly,
there was just a lot of stuff that could have been happening.
I'm of the opinion that he's stronger than Kaido,
Okay.
but I think he was purposely holding Kaido off because I think Shanks is a type, and you see it at the Summit War. He tries to prevent bloodshed.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, he's not trying to make it worse. He's not bloodthirsty like Kaido, as far as we know.
Yeah.
Unless there's another side to Shanks we don't know.
very well could be.
But that's how I'm thinking right now.
Yep. I want to say that he's probably talking about Odin here. You know,
That is also
like that was a serious one-on-one. Wano was, in the balance, right? And he was trying to kill Kaido.
And that was the last time before Zoro that he got an actual lasting...
And he very well could have died there.
I mean, that's the thing, is we don't hear any stories of after the Rock's breakup that Big Mom and Whitebeard had fights with Kaido. Like, obviously they became the Yonko, and as such, maybe their underlings had scuffles, and some islands might have changed hands, depending on how those scuffles went. But ultimately, we've never had, or at least no confirmation that they had these big one-on-one fights with each other. So
Yeah.
And again, is a fight between two past crewmates truly a one-on-one, someone's going to die here, or is it for fun of the age, right? It seems like Kaido and Big Mom, as much as they do seem to not get along, at the end of the day, they do get along. Like, you're like my little brother.
For sure.
So, it's just interesting things to think about.
Yeah.
Dome interior, live floor. Whoa! The roof is cracking! First the castle's on fire, and now the dome isn't stable!
And we cut back to Luffy now
Roof piece.
in the crater. Yeah, cut back to more roof piece.
I'm enjoying this, but the castle and island are half destroyed. Talk about useless. Seems like I can't even protect one lousy castle.
That hurt, damn it, you bastard!
I guess we could rebuild. It took, what, around 5 years?
I've got to keep my guard up.
I did my best. Whew. But maybe that's just not good enough. Dragon Demolition Twister! Get away! Ah! You damn brat! Ah!
Well, let me see.
This is what you get when you don't back off! Thunder! Bah!
Don't get ahead of yourself!
Ah!
And Luffy jumps up over, puts his foot down on the club, and then launches a kick. Take that, you drunk, into Kaido's face.
Oh, that's a good hit,
It's
too.
a good hit. Get lots of blood from that initial thing, and then also his beard.
The kick is off, but a tail grabs the ankle
Tail
of
grabs
Luffy.
Luffy. Whoa!
And the heads collide.
And they headbutt with a clear wall of Conqueror's Haki
Ain't nobody
between
touching.
them. And as the electrical discharge of the Conquerors goes off,
Luffy is blown
Luffy
back.
gets blown back. His Haki's getting stronger.
You little... I was just starting to hit that good buzz. Why'd you have to sober me up, you brat?
Angry drunk face.
Gomu Gomu no!
That's quite a blast.
Rock! Gundari! Oh wait, is that Kaido?
I think Kaido's the Gundari.
Oh yeah. So Gundari
yeah.
and then Rock, Meteor Shot. I don't even actually know what's happening.
I think it's Rock and then Kaido, Gundari, and then you say Gatling and he says Meteor.
There it is, Gatling.
Yes.
Actually,
Because yeah.
I think that's all Luffy.
No, Gatling has
the
exclamation
Gatling
points.
is the end. So Rock Gatling is what Luffy's doing. Gundari Meteor Shower is Kaido.
Yeah, because he's
okay.
basically
Gotcha.
knocking them back at Luffy.
Yeah,
as
all right.
he's
So,
throwing them out.
and as we do that, they both launch these dual attacks and both get smacked in the face.
All right.
Pretty good.
Shall we?
I think.
yeah.
Wow.
Where are we at? Sorry.
We're down below where Luffy and Kaido both get smacked.
Ah!
And they're just both yelling at each other.
Just so good.
And we get a couple more good shots.
Action sequence.
Conquerors coated Thunder Bagwas and clubs and freaking giant legs and feet from Luffy, and Kaido is just smiling.
Look at that smile of Kaido before he gets
and
kicked.
he gets fucking blasted in his fucking belly. Looks like he's about to vomit.
Oh.
And actually, that looks like a very decent hit. His eyes are at least whited for the moment. He's
obviously hurting.
It's not the end of the fight, mind you.
But he's obviously hurting him.
Hurting.
Yeah.
Like, there's blood spilling and everything.
And suddenly, we cut away to the last place I expected to see this particular chapter.
The Holy Land of Marijois, red line. It is as if this year's reverie was cursed. We should put what happened aside for now. Wano is the more pressing issue. There was no way of knowing that battle would go this far. Nico Robin must have been apprehended by now. It's time to act. It wouldn't be out of place for someone to die unexpectedly. During a war that involves Kaido and Big Mom, this is our chance to erase that nuisance.
Never before have you ever read something that, like, 5 old guys in a room.
Supreme leaders of the world government.
5 old guys in a room makes you so excited for what could potentially happen. And like, they're discussing stuff we already know right now.
Yes.
It's literally just like, we know that CP0 is coming for Nico Robin. Obviously, Wano is going way more in the Straw Hats' favor than anybody could have predicted, even the power scalers in the real world. Mm-hmm. And it's just like... And obviously, in the middle of this war, that would be the perfect time to get rid of somebody as much of a nuisance to them as Nico Robin.
Yeah.
We cut to the seas around Wano. All students standing by. What's the matter? Well, there's a giant shadow. What is it? No idea. An island?
Cut back to the Gorosei.
That's impossible. That fruit is nothing but a legend. Even for us. It hasn't awakened for centuries. How else do you explain the world government giving a specific devil fruit a unique name? And as we cut back to Wano, we continue the Gorosei's lines. They were hiding the fruit's true name from the annals of history.
What does this mean? As we see the silhouette of Zunisha
Just marching up
marching
on Wano.
up on Wano behind the world government ships. And that is the end of 1037 with a break
Confirmed
next week.
break
A
next
confirmed
week.
break. Which, thank God, I at least know that there's a break instead of me hoping
on
the week
That'd
of
be
January
rough.
22nd, hoping that we get an answer to what the fuck this bomb was. Because holy shit, you can all both confirm this. The night this chapter dropped on TCB scans, I read it and I immediately sent it to everybody.
And I read it and I was like, what? I lost my freaking mind.
Because truly, this was not on my bingo card of things that were going to happen even remotely by the end of Wano.
I need an actual bingo card.
Like, I could see them going back to Zunisha at some point, or something about, like, what happened with Momonosuke when they were on Zunisha, like, coming back into the story. But this was not it.
Okay. Oh, my God. Okay, so, let's start from the top, because I know there's a lot to fucking talk about. First and foremost, I'm not going to speak too much on the Flower Capital. Look,
there's not enough to say, except
they've got no
it is
clue.
Nice that they've got this little Toki float. I do like the Toki float.
Toki float's fun. Love the Toki float. They have no clue what's above them. It seems like the festival's winding down, which means that Wano itself is winding down, which means we're really getting close to the end here.
Well, I mean, we kind of knew that was heading towards the end for the Wano arc, just when King and Queen are both down.
I wonder if and again, speculation, if they beat Kaido and everyone, and they land Onigashima, and they're like, well, party's over, but we just won! And then they just start it all up again, and Fire Festival goes on for like a few days.
Well, especially, and I think that actually that would be something that would happen in this moment, because obviously they're all trying to start winding down because they think their one night of freedom
Orochi's coming back.
Is over.
All of them are coming back.
Their one night to party is about to be over, so we need to pack up, we need to get this shit put away, squared away.
Okay. Roof piece.
More roof piece.
Kaido he's pulled a jug of sake from somewhere, and he is drinking.
I'm pretty sure he keeps a gourd on his person.
Well, also, look at there's this almost, like, I'm sure it was just the original entrance to the roof.
Oh, yeah.
But that looks like it could have also been a shed. So I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe he just, like, went over and grabbed a barrel of sake that he just has.
Why is Kaido drinking here? It's just, I don't think there's some big reason.
In celebration.
But of the fight?
Yeah, it's the first time, like, he's so happy. This is probably the first time.
It's just...
Like, if you compare it to how we first met him, he was literally trying to kill himself out of depression because there was no one who could challenge him. Mm-hmm. He thought that everyone...
Well, Whitebeard had died, and so he was like, well...
He thought that anybody worth challenging was gone. That was, and then... That turned out not to be true.
Yeah.
He's combining the festival he was supposed to have, right, with this fight that he now has to have. And he's like, you know what? You want to swig?
I think this is actually his preferred festival.
You've pretty much ruined that.
I think he said that completely.
He's
laughing.
Great fucking... You're totally... Now, do you guys think that the alcohol... Is this working like a drunken fist type thing? Where
absolutely.
This is making him stronger. It's Haki's...
This is a Rock Lee versus Kimimaru thing where he's going to appear to be stronger for the time being.
Yeah.
I think Luffy will win out, obviously. Because it almost seems like it's like calming his nerves, his inhibitions a little bit more. So he's a little bit more loose and wobbly and
also,
able to... Go ahead.
Not just that. I think that's true, but I think even more than that is we're getting. Oda's doing a wonderful job with now that we're fully exploring the Yonkos. Mm-hmm. He's doing a wonderful job through how they fight, of showing just how big they are. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to make the top of the world as big as you can, especially these top of the pirates, because obviously you've got the Navy side of it, where the admirals, they've got their weirdness, but they're still relatively human in the way they act, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah.
But with the Yonko,
especially like pre-time skip admirals, like they all had their specific style of justice.
But they still have that look of order, while on the chaotic side you've got the leaders of the pirates, which they're all about war and all about chaos and all about doing whatever they want. And it's so nice to see that chaos embodied in them. Like, you see it in Big Mom, and the fact that she'll eat just about anyone and anything, and how she's
Big
terrifying
Mom
right
does
now.
not give a fuck.
And then in Kaido, he fucking he takes that trope of like the absolutely bloodthirsty warrior who would rather have nothing more than a good bout.
Mm-hmm.
And like we haven't had a fight like this before of this scale because I don't think anybody was first of all expecting this in this way. I think people might have expected. We made like judgments that there might have been drinking involved. But I don't think anybody thought he was going to.
I couldn't tell you at this point because now it's like I can't look hindsight anymore with the information I have. But if you had asked me fucking 30 chapters ago, 37 chapters ago, how this fight was going to go, I couldn't have honestly told you.
Both of you, tell me a enemy that Luffy has faced that was laughing during their final fight.
I mean, besides in like the Dolphin Flamingo, I think I'm gonna win.
Well, let's
at a certain
I
point,
think
though,
in terms of enjoying the
he wasn't enjoying it. At
No,
the end.
exactly towards the end.
This is towards the
what were you
end.
about to say, Brock?
You're talking enjoying the fight because he's actually getting
laughing
back.
and you hit.
He's got a
great.
challenge.
Like even Katakuri was I respect
And it's
you.
it's wholehearted, almost wholesome joy.
I think the only person who's even remotely done that was, and I wouldn't even consider it a true fight. I just think it was Blackbeard and Impel Down when he got a couple of punches in on him and he kind of shows Luffy you're nothing compared to me right now.
Honestly,
that is the closest thing I can even think of.
To me, the closest, and I know it's not the same, but to me the closest because Blackbeard. He still gives out the vibe of one who wouldn't enjoy losing. He doesn't.
Exactly.
He enjoys taking pain.
He was pissed when fucking Luffy punched him. He was just like,
it's just, but he liked. It was
lording over the.
It was the same as
same
Doflamingo in that he was lording it over Luffy.
Exact same thing with Ace when he.
But I'd say the
power
closest, and like I said, this is still pretty different. Closest I'd probably say was Dogtooth, because in that combat, even though it wasn't more of I enjoyed being beaten, I think he enjoyed seeing this person grow in the fight, and actually someone who could actually back up his words. And I think that he found a sort of honor in that, a bit less chaotic in the way of Kaido, which is why I love both. I think those are two of my favorite.
And I mean, that's the thing, is Katakuri and Kaido have been some of my absolute favorite Luffy fights. In general, obviously, I have a soft spot for the Doflamingo fight because that's Gear 4, that's Doflamingo, that's...
Well, he's a really cool villain.
Katakuri's a cool... Dofi's a cool...
Of course.
But Katakuri and Kaido, it's both this acknowledgement. It's this finally, people are taking Luffy fucking seriously.
Yeah.
Which he's deserved for...
Quite some time.
Honestly, since Fishman Island, if you ask me.
I mean, Kaido's already, basically said, I've acknowledged you, now I'm going to have fun with this fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I don't think is taking anything away from the fact that he still wants to win it, but he's now, getting to revel in this challenge.
Yeah.
Which I think makes him a very unique antagonist versus the ones we've seen, because no one's like, oh yeah, Luffy's beating me up. I love this.
He's also,
he's
probably also the only villain who wholeheartedly and wholesomely offered a drink to Luffy in the middle of the fight.
I loved that.
You don't
that
see a swig.
Good on Luffy
I'll
for
share
not
with you.
taking it.
He doesn't drink, right?
Because he doesn't drink.
He doesn't like the taste
except
of
for the parties, which even then it's most of the time probably just juice or something.
He only likes juice.
Yeah.
He likes flavor.
How do you guys, and I'm moving on if you guys have anything else to say.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
How do you guys like the drawing of Kaido in Laughing Drunk Ragnaroku? That overly big boy, it's so cartoon. I love it.
I love it.
I love it. This isn't a knock, but it's different.
It adds to what I was saying earlier.
It's definitely one of those almost Looney Tunes or Tom and Jerry style things where you just see them bring out the bat and just the way that the bat hits the fucking dog Spike across the face.
And that's the one that hurts too. It starts cartoony hoo-hoo-hoo,
what I love,
boom, it's serious.
What I love is that, and this just kind of goes back to is everything about this chapter has turned this fight on its head in terms of how we look at Kaido.
Yeah.
We were looking at him a bit differently now that we saw his past self, but now that we've seen him kind of out of the throes of depression, and of just focusing on business, and he can actually just enjoy himself. He's almost like a kid again.
I mean, this is just the continuation of our same thoughts of when Kaido was a young man, he was like Luffy. Yeah. He was probably looking for the most fun. I'm looking at the SHURON HAKKE page where he is just laughing, and that's the kind of thing you got with early style Luffy, where like somebody tries to go in for the punch or for the stab, and he just immediately does this, and then he does a fucking Gomu Gomu no Bell or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's that kind of vibe that you're getting out of this, and it's so cool to see because it's almost like Luffy's fighting himself.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
In a really weird way, yeah.
I mean, it is also true because, like, if you think about it, kind of
because Katakuri was him fighting his power set.
Yeah.
Now, this fight is him fighting his personality set.
Yeah.
And that's so cool. I actually really like that now that I'm making that connection.
Yeah. Such a hard hit on Luffy in that next scene. We go back to Roof Piece. And Kaido's now a dragon, just spinning around.
I know, right?
He's
just fucking around.
It's interesting because I think it kind of mirrors when Luffy was going like Gear 4, Snake Man, and then boom, he was back. Like he's just transforming.
I am really happy that they're taking it through different forms for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and
it's
not
so
just trying to keep it to the form.
And the phase, that's what's so interesting. It's like he could have followed up there and hit Luffy again, but no, now he's just going to roll over here on Dragon and think about how long it's going to take to build his fucking castle back. He's like, no, 5 years, I guess we built. Oh. Like, it's so fucking random.
It's very random.
It's like Kaido.
And I don't hate it. I don't think
it's not goofing. It's weird.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't the kind of goofing because he's still posing a threat. Like the Dragon Demolition Twister keeps Luffy at bay, and he's just like, get away from me!
This is part of his fighting personality.
You know, Kaido was kind of losing up to this point. In a sense, like Luffy was like doing well. Now he's actually kind of throwing Luffy back on like the defensive for a couple of these hits, and it's through these phases.
That's just how it's going to be for the rest of this fight. Is they're going to be
it's going to be a slugger.
They're going to be pulling out these different ways to basically confuse each other.
Yeah.
This is
They're both trying to keep each other on each other.
I truly believe this is going to be a slugger, and that's not in the bad way. It's because they're so similar to each other.
Luffy, but that is Luffy's like specialty.
And I think it's Kaido's too.
If you get back to punching back and forth, it's usually
here's the thing. I think it's Kaido's too, but I think this is chance for him to overcome the king of sluggers, and then Luffy will be the king of sluggers before he becomes the king of pirates. But
yeah,
no, it's such a cool fight, and like
I love how much Oda focused in on just because we're gonna get all of these bits in the anime.
This is a random bit for me, but this is one thing I hope that they don't change in the anime because you notice these little things. I appreciate that Luffy. It's the panel where he kicks Kaido in the belly. He's got the steam coming off of him. He's got Gear Second steam coming off of him, and he didn't say Gear Second. Yeah. This is turning into like that feeling you got when you watch Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix for the first time. You watch Voldemort and Dumbledore have their duel, where neither of them is even speaking the spells anymore. They are literally just doing this crazy ass shit that like they're masters of their craft.
So on that, I have a couple thoughts. So I think in the manga is getting to the point where there's too much happening for him to do that. But also we don't need that. But at the same time, in the anime they tend to draw things out.
Oh yeah.
So it's not out of reason to think that they might do that, unfortunately.
They probably will.
But no, I agree. I think it'd be really cool if we got to the point where it's just visibly telltale.
Like I'm totally fine if Luffy calls out his attacks like Gatling and all that shit.
Yeah, no, but
like we know what happens when he does the fucking.
Yeah. Well, and also he literally doesn't need to do that anymore. He needs to just punch his hand out real quick and he's good.
And the other artistic thing here is that like assumedly all of these attacks are Conqueror coding.
Yeah.
That's how he's actually hitting Kaido.
That's how he's actually able to fight.
So I'm thinking that all of these are going to look slightly different than the Luffy attacks we've used, like red Haki or something.
Good. It's all going to look so good.
It is so interesting that
we haven't actually reiterated this in quite a few chapters, but I can't wait to see this anime.
It's very true. I love how he goes from a Gear 3rd Haki'd up kick, and this is the same panel I think you're talking about.
Right above it,
and then it ends as like this super like tiny like almost quick kick. Like it just goes.
It's almost like he took the mass of that and compressed it into this one tiny point while moving it.
Right, yeah. Like it's almost a combination of Snake Man and Bounce.
Luffy's good at that kind of shit though.
Right. Like he's transitioning without even thinking about it, which I think might be leading to a new form.
Possibly.
I don't see him beating Kaido without some new, and it doesn't have to be Gear 5. It can be Gear 4, like something else.
Well, also, I also think that it. Oh, excuse me. in the fights with Gear 4,
Yeah.
I like that Oda keeps his progression with Luffy consistent.
Sure.
Because, like, I'm pretty sure he could not switch as comfortably in Gear 4 now as he would have when he first used it.
For sure.
But now that he's used it so much against Doflamingo, Cracker,
and Katakuri.
he's gotten super used to it.
Mm-hmm.
He can now use it a lot more easily.
Oh, yeah.
Which means it's either setting him up for the next level.
I mean, that's one of the things you look at, like, in the anime right now.
Yeah.
Like, some of his transformations into Gear 4 are just so fluid for him now.
So seamless.
Where
It's just like his observation seeing the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like he can do that a lot more easily now.
Yeah.
Basically on command.
Kaido's Gundari meteor shower gives me Katakuri vibes with those spiked balls.
let me look at
Well, that's
it
just
one
him
more
using his mace,
time.
right?
That's his mace.
The way...
But you see how it's kind
So,
of... But, like, you know when
it
Katakuri would put
looks
spikes
like-
on his...
no,
It looks like, from what the motions are that Oda's doing there, it looks like he does this spinning first to, like, build up the momentum,
Yeah.
and then he basically does this kind of X motion with the mace.
Excalibur. Drake's attack Excalibur when he...
Oh, okay.
I just thought that was a fun
Okay.
thing to throw.
But it's stop the mood, Alex.
Sorry.
But just that, and that seems like that's what's doing it, is just the
Yeah.
constant motion of that is basically giving him his own Gatling style attack.
I'm not saying it's like a copy thing or anything.
No, I just...
But you know how the Katakuri
Yeah,
always had
Katakuri
those
had the
black,
spikes.
you know,
Yeah.
and the spike punches versus Luffy's like...
I just was pointing out, like, it's interesting how he does the attack as well.
Actually, I was watching One Piece with Devin, helping him catch up a few days ago. He's currently in the
Okay.
Whole Cake
the
Island.
Whole Cake Island Cracker fight.
Got to Cracker, yeah.
And I told him, one thing I really hate about the Big Mom pirates is that they're so needlessly arrogant that, like, even compared to most other pirates, so one of the main was, like, how Mad Monk Rouge beat that fourth Sweet Commander, right?
Snack.
But then they still called him weak, even though he had to fight another Sweet Commander right after that, and they beat him.
Yeah.
It's like, he just beat a Sweet Commander. And they do that for the entire thing, where they're constantly shitting on Luffy and his friends, even though Luffy keeps beating people down
Right, yes.
the entire arc. And so I told him, I was like, this might not happen, but I would love it if there was, like, a slight rematch where the remainders of Big Mom Pirates come after Luffy, but he has his full crew with him,
Right.
and he's newly powered up,
Yeah.
and they just wreck him.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be so satisfying to see.
Well,
That'd be
Smoothie
great.
needs a fight.
I mean, that is that is an interesting thing to point out about, like, the Beast Pirates versus the Big Mom Pirates. Is like the Beast Pirates, like, don't get me wrong, a few of them were kind of doing
Yeah,
that.
they talk smack,
They were
for sure.
talking some smack,
But they're not so, like, posh about it, like, you little
they're-
worm.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not
It's
posh.
like-
They're like fucking rock
It's
stars.
like Big Mom's family thinks they're just so elite just because they're the family of a Yonko.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really soak that shit up.
I mean, that was probably why I hated.
Whereas Kaido actually has, like, pretty much adopted all of his crew. Like, literally, like, Page 1 and Ulti were, and this was an SBS that he talked about, they
Well,
were
and
adopted
also,
by Kaido. I want to know more about that person.
And if you think about it, too...
But they're dead. So
If
it's
you
fine.
they
think
are
about it,
dead
too,
now, unfortunately.
Sorry, Brock.
If you think about it, too, comparatively, Big Mom's is like a monarchy. She's the queen, and her kids are where they are.
Princes and
they're all
princesses.
strong. They're all very strong.
Oh, yeah.
But they're also there by blood.
Yeah.
While Kaido's is literally a constant battle to be at the top.
Yeah.
Where literally he gives people the chance to take others down so they can be in that spot.
Yeah.
It's more like a clan than a
Whitebeard's
monarchy.
a family of just everybody, who kind of wants to be
Yeah.
there, just built up over
So I
generations.
think that warrior mentality is also the difference
And
there.
Blackbeard is, we are together for an ambition because...
Well, I mean, we're not ready to figure out Blackbeard yet.
I'm just going to say, like, in Impel Down, he was like, Shiryu was like, look, I'll help you if you prove it to me at Marineford. And he's like, shit, he really did it. Guess we're not disbanding.
My presumption is that the Blackbeard Pirates is basically going to be the anti-Straw Hats. Like, that's going to be... not anti, but the nega Straw Hats, almost in a way.
That's just
the
kind
evil
of
Straw Hats, in a way, is my thought.
Well, what does that look like to you, Brock? Because obviously Blackbeard has a thing about dreams too, and like one of the moments that makes you like him when you first meet him.
yeah, for sure.
Men's dreams never die.
Here's the thing about what makes villains like him so compelling is usually there's this really strange
kinship.
Not this kinship, but this really strange contradiction to who they are. Like they believe in dreams, but they don't believe that everyone can have them type thing or whatever, something like that.
Interesting.
But at the same time, their personality is hard to hate. And I see this a lot in anime. Obviously, I can't guarantee that this is the case because I know shit about Teach. Who does besides Oda? But I feel like and also it's just a cool idea that to me they are the main villains until we see otherwise. That's what it's looked to me.
I think if Shanks is reporting them to the world government, the assumption is, this is a bigger problem than you guys. Because I'm coming to you guys.
And in that case, it would make sense to me that they are the opposite. Because, like, if you look at if you see a Blackbeard, he has a thing for dreams, but he also shows all the opposite qualities to what makes D's so great.
I think. Well, you're right about that. Yes, he is a fake D.
But that's
he
all.
Might not actually be a fake D.
That's all I have on him.
He doesn't have the same things that D's have historically seemed to have.
That's all I have on him. There's really no other thing for that. But I think it'd be a cool concept.
Here's something that I'm almost certain of with Blackbeard when you parallel him with Luffy. Luffy is carrying other people's wills. Aces is a big one. Like Shanks is a big goal.
Rogers,
of course.
Aces,
Joy
Shanks,
Boy,
Blackbeard, Joy Boy's whether he knows it or not.
Right. Kaido might start in some of these panels be thinking he is.
But I think I know where you're about to go with this.
But Blackbeard, I'm almost certain, also is carrying a will. It's just a will very much the opposite of that. Maybe Zebek, maybe some other horrifying...
Maybe there's two sides to the D.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. And I think... Because Rock's D Zebek was this guy, and Gold D Roger was his, the
Rock's
parallels...
D's nuts...
And his boat, his main ship, is called the Zebek. Like, if that's not
sort
a
of
dead...
Zebek or something.
Yeah, that's not a giveaway that he has something to do with this guy who wanted all the sea in
I saw a
this
random
evil
thing
way.
of trivia, by the way, that apparently the Rock's crew was also formed on that island that Blackbeard currently has his base on.
Yeah.
Well, I think and also another cool...
So
is it parallels there? We just don't know.
I just got to get this one joke off because I made it earlier. Was Blackbeard is over here copying Zebek's homework and changing nothing.
Another cool idea I think would be that rather than Nega, Blackbeard's crew would act more as maybe a alternate yet similar ideal to Luffy's, where maybe they both believe in wanting to have all the freedom, but maybe it's a matter of one is extremely violent and one is one that brings smiles type thing. I think, as a generality.
I think Blackbeard... Look, Luffy just wants to get to the One Piece and the final island. He doesn't care about it. He just wants to get there and say that he did it, be pronounced Pirate King. That's his dream and goal. I bet Blackbeard could give less than a shit about Pirate King.
Oh, yeah.
He just wants to use it so that he can rule like Zebek did, right? And that's just my guess. But the parallels with Roger and Luffy and him and Zebek, they just seem to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
For sure.
Okay, are we ready to talk about Marijois?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Actually, hold off.
What do you got?
This is the tiny tier list that I want to bring in here, and I don't want to have a big fight about it. What do you guys think if I say the following? Kaido and his crew of the 4 Yonko currently are the weakest, and that's why Luffy's taking him down first.
Nope. I refuse.
My belief is that he and Big Mom are roughly the same level, and I think that Blackbeard and Shanks are a higher tier. I think the only reason their bounties are lower is because they're younger and haven't been Yonkos for as long.
I am willing to believe that what you just said there, Brock. I don't currently, but I'm willing to at least believe it as time goes forward. Here's my thing.
This is open-ended. There's no right or wrong. I'm
genuinely
curious.
Sorry, Power
In that case, Foxy's better.
I'm genuinely curious.
I know.
Here's my thing. And sorry, Power Scalers, I don't normally like to get into this shit as much, but right now, here's what I'm feeling.
Sure.
Kaido is way stronger than Big Mom, personally. Crew and all. Like, just the Beast Pirates as a whole are stronger than the Big Mom Pirates. This isn't even just because, I felt like Big Mom's been goofed on. Right now, she is showing exactly why she is a Yonko, and I appreciate it. Like, her fight with Law and Kid, I'm at least excited to see how it ends, whether she escapes or whether she falls. Either way. Here's my thing. If, first off, Kaido and Big Mom didn't form an alliance back when, she was brought to Onigashima, I swear to God, I think Kaido would have eventually crushed her. At least stopped her. He might have taken a lot of good hits and may have been injured himself. But I think if they had actually continued their fight, he would have come out the victor. Now, that being said, this is not to diminish any of the people who are now fighting these people in any way. But I think that this is generally how it's going to go. Because Luffy is going to be able to take Kaido by himself. Law and Kid, I think, absolutely have the potential to beat Big Mom with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say, all things being equal, Luffy can take down Kaido, and Big Mom and him both get to rest. Don't have to fight anybody else. They get to come back at each other at peak. I think Luffy, having beaten Kaido at this point, easily, not easily, but like, after a hard-fought battle, also wins out against Big Mom with not quite as much of a struggle as he's put in against Kaido. That is my thought on the current rankings of the Yonko. Where Blackbeard and Shanks fall can either be below or above that for me. I just know that Kaido has to be somewhere in the middle or the top.
If you think the situation was reversed...
And it was Kid against...
No.
Nope.
If Luffy and his crew and a force that was being oppressed in Whole Cake went on a raid to defeat Big Mom and her children, do you think it would be going as well as Wano is?
Post or preemptively against like a Katakuri-like figure.
Let's say that we go to Wano first to save everybody and we end up in Whole Cake next.
Does Luffy end up fighting somebody who has something similar to be garnered from Katakuri?
I'll say that he would get the same bonuses in Whole Cake
that's
as he's gotten in Wano.
Is Katakuri was the stepping stone for advanced observation. Obviously, he got advanced armament while in the Wano prisons, and he gets advanced conqueror.
Sure. Let's say through some routes he's able to achieve those and goes up against Big Mom. Zoro has to take on Katakuri, and Sanji takes on Cracker. And Smoothie's left to the chicks, and maybe Jinbei.
So, see, that's the thing. Is I don't know how,
this is a really wild speculation. This isn't me trying
to dunk on my boy in any way, shape, or form. I don't think Zoro has the skill sets to go against Katakuri's particular skill sets. He potentially could, but I just seeing how that fight panned out for Luffy against Katakuri, I just don't see Zoro having the same skills necessary to do that.
That's also why I put Sanji against Cracker, because I can't have him fight Smoothie.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't win.
No, he wouldn't win.
I can't.
I would put Jinbei against Smoothie.
Yeah.
In that situation. Do you disagree with me on that? Do you feel
Jack was taken out by at the end of 1v1 with one of the Scabbards and lost, right? So I'm power leveling Smoothie on Jack's level.
Kind of, yeah.
And Snack was dropped down, so there's
we also got to take into account.
This is so much speculation.
No, it is. I think it's fun, though.
It is fun to an extent.
We also take into account the fact that on Whole Cake, Luffy was, when he fought Cracker, who was the weakest of those three.
He went through two Sweet Generals and then
what I'm saying.
Oh.
What I'm saying is when he fought Cracker, that still took a lot out of him. Like that was the weakest of the three remaining Sweet Generals, and he used, like, he had to use at that point what was his best, because we all know Luffy is constantly progressing at a very rapid pace.
Largely it was Nami too, right?
She definitely helped.
The fact that he could eat the crackers with her,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing. He couldn't even get through his shields without Gear 4th,
right?
Or the water.
And then there was just more of them. He kept
and then like with Katakuri, that was the case where Luffy had to get stronger mid battle, or he would die.
Yeah. Well, and Katakuri had to be honorable, right?
He was overwhelmingly powerful.
Because he allowed his sister to take out Luffy there.
If Katakuri was okay with the fact that his sister basically cheated in that fight, like, Luffy's dead.
And maybe it's because of the fact that, he knew Luffy was trying to escape after beating him, that he's like, okay, well, I'm going to fight at this honorable out, and if I can't win, that's that, right? But he's going to leave after. But if he was actually defending...
My thoughts, I do think that... Well, first of all, there's multiple points here. I do think Zoro could fight Katakuri at this point, because I truly believe... I think King Katakuri are akin. Mm-hmm. And I think if he can beat... Because here's the thing. King in and of himself is already a bad match for Zoro because he can fly. And his mobility is ridiculous. Yeah, Zoro's not a speed guy.
Right.
But that's not new for Zoro.
No. He had to overcome.
But I do think he could fight Katakuri in terms of... Because here's the thing. I do think in the Pirate... In the Straw Hats, second to Luffy, Zoro has the most defense and endurance.
Sure.
And I think he at that point he'll have more defense and endurance, or enough to be able to find an opening and beat him.
Yeah.
I will just adding to that, not to say that Zoro doesn't have good defense. I actually think now with Sanji's current power up, I think they both have
for sure
equal defense.
No, I was just talking on on Zoro's
and
fight.
I'm just trying to throw one out there.
At that point, I think Sanji would fare the same against. I do think in that case, Sanji would fare better to begin with against Katakuri because
fire leg, mochi, and observation.
Well, not just that, but he's got a better observation,
seemingly,
which is his main thing.
That's his.
But I think Zoro could still come out on top because I think he's just fucking the most inhuman human in the anime.
Katakuri, we're really knocking you at this point.
I love
really.
Katakuri.
He's amazing.
He's
great.
But I do have to power scale both of Luffy's first and second.
But at the same time, it's hard to say because back then, up until this point, no one was doing shit to Big Mom. Let's be real. No one did a damn thing. They knocked her down.
Brooke slept with her.
They knocked her down.
Sorry.
They knocked her down, but didn't do shit.
No.
She walked off and she's got more pissed. This is the first time we've seen her actually bleeding, and now she's serious.
In a really strange way, Sanji defeated her for a bit with the cake, but that didn't last very long.
Yeah, but that was just a good. That was just.
She was just so
for
fucking happy.
Sanji.
That was a nice Sanji moment as a cook.
That was a Sanji moment akin to way back when he fed Gin.
Oh, absolutely.
To me that's like how Chopper, how he's choosing to fix all the enemies from the
ice demons.
Because we're getting a look at all their...
It's your careers
we're getting at them as their careers, not just as fighters.
Yeah, your skills have other uses.
But no, that's why I think we can't really say that Kaido is that much stronger than Big Mom.
I'm just curious. What do you guys
my opinion on the Kaido Big Mom fight is that I think it would be a draw. I think the leg up that Kaido has is that they're in the middle of his fortress.
Yeah. But I was thinking just on an equal playing field, nobody interferes. I still think
Zeus, all of them. Right? He has
my problem is that she's shown just as much toughness as Kaido has up to this point, and there's really no reason to believe that. And it's also she's technically older and more experienced, so that might add to the tricks, to the bags there. Yeah. But I do think on that level, I'd say they're probably at the same. And if Kaido does win, he's near death.
Sure. No, exactly. I say it would be a very hard fought battle where Kaido.
No one would really win it. Ultimately, it would be bad for both.
It would be a Pyrrhic victory.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say. I think between the two of them, they're very equal. Mm-hmm. I think that Big Mom has an edge in the structure of her crew. I don't like Kaido's whole, you just have to beat the next guy, brings a lot of animosity.
Yeah.
Whereas she has the children love each other and their siblings and their townsfolk, and they don't generally oppress them.
They're a better army.
That is very much true.
They're a better army.
You think about that whole cake.
All of the islands.
I'm just saying all of Whole Cake, when it comes to Big Mom's family, you are correct in that sense. The only thing that was a weird thing that happened was when Katakuri showed his face to Flampe, which she just sucks. Fuck Flampe.
She's a bitch.
I hate her.
She's pretty terrible.
But for the most part, every time they find out one of their brothers or their sisters got beat
by
somebody, they are just enraged. It is all about vengeance for this.
Chills down my spine when Cracker's defeated and the entirety of the family walks out to meet Luffy, who just is waiting for Sanji there, right? And goes off on them, and they're all just doing all their crazy shit to him, and you're like, fuck, Luffy, like, I believe in you, and you can be Pirate King, man, but no. You cannot just do
Whereas,
this
like,
by
the
yourself.
structure of Kaido's crew, which is like, if you're in the Toby Roppo and then you do this task for Kaido, he'll let you go up against one of the All-Stars, and, like, that can lead to this just animosity and this lack of respect from underlings because they think, oh, well, then maybe I can take down old Fat Queen, or Jack's been kind of worthless ever since he went to Zoe, so, you know, fuck that guy. Let's see if we can take him out. Like,
And then once the super,
and in the same regard, it's also reversed, where like Queen has no respect for the underlings.
Raiders, you're not getting shit. Gifters, you're fucked up.
You might as well all just fucking die.
Yeah, be some ice demons. You'll be more helpful, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's no respect top down, and there's no respect top up.
Like where the only thing you really get from that with Big Mom is just Big Mom.
Like, she's having hunger pangs, guys. Let's get together and figure this one out. Someone get those fucking tourist donuts. Get them back here.
It's like you almost feel like there's this dictatorship among the Big Mom pirates where it's just they're all scared of Mama.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
I would throw all the Yonko in a really similar like fighting.
Except Dogtooth, I don't think he's afraid of her.
I don't think he's afraid of her, but I almost think he's looking forward to when she's taken down.
Dogtooth, I get this feeling of like he has a strained respect for his mom because she still raised him. Like
absolutely,
despite his, in other people's eyes, deformity.
Right.
And I think that's why he bears an allegiance to Mama.
I don't get why people make fun of him and not fucking Parasparrow.
Well,
Like, you see that tongue. Like, what the
Well, Parasparrow is also one of her her eldest son.
He's the second eldest.
I know, but he's the eldest son.
Double checking. Hold on. Go ahead and keep talking.
But that man looks way more fucked up than
She might have been more protective of her earlier children too.
Yeah, eldest child of Charlotte family.
Yeah. No, he is, but he looks like a fucking clown.
No, he does.
Katakuri looks dope with or without his
God, if only we could have clowned more on fucking Parasparrow.
Well, and here's the thing.
Tried to.
Here's the thing too. Maybe he didn't look like that until he got the fruit.
And then he got himself clowned on.
But anyways.
Yeah. That's what I would say. I think when it comes down to who's really stronger as Yonko, I think the edge is in their crew structure. Shanks, I think that's why Shanks is near at the top. He has the most well-rounded crew the world government.
They're the most similar to the Straw Hats crew.
Right. There's the one boat. They don't have islands that they protect. It's just them on that ship. Right? I don't know if they have islands, but it doesn't
we don't know anything about
as
them.
much as he's partying and going around, it doesn't seem like he protects anything specifically. Whitebeard was just fucking.
We also don't know why
40,
he's talking
50
to the five supreme leaders of the.
Yeah, man. I mean, he fucking stopped Marineford and told fucking the fleet admiral, "Hey, man, let's stop this shit." And he's like, "Okay, cool." Goro say, "Listen to me, man. I got some stuff." I don't know.
And every time it's because it's you, we'll listen.
And then Blackbeard has Whitebeard's fruit, his own fucking nullifying fruit, and all the impel down prisoners.
From level 6.
Fuck. And now Gecko Mori, which I don't know what that fucking plays in. But, shit. You can't take Edwards and not jump up a bunch of rungs.
Oh, yeah.
So. Anyway, interesting tangent. I just feel like structurally, Kaido's was the most insoluble. Because at least Big Mom's crew, they're together. Now they can't get shit together in Wano with the fucking water. Come on. But yeah, Queen and King couldn't work together, much like Sanji Zoro couldn't. But Sanji Zoro could hold off until the end. They just didn't seem to be able to go the distance. Not to say they didn't go a distance. Never taking anything away from the commanders. Anyway, awesome fight. Loved how much shit Kaido and I bet this is probably going to be 2-3 episodes, just this chapter with all that fighting stuff, because they're going to extend stuff. They're going to add things.
At least you think so.
I hope so.
We'll see what happens.
The Holy Land of Mary Joie Red Line. So where do you guys want to be? Obviously, we know what the first thing they're talking about. This year's Reverie was cursed. There was the invasion, Sabo fighting admirals. Everyone left early. Shit. Okay. Wano's the most pressing issue.
And depending on their opinion on this whole dissolving the warlords thing, because I don't know. The Gorosei and Im don't seem like people who would want to do away with that, if you ask me.
I think that's why the Reverie went to shit, is because they voted officially on that.
Yeah.
They were like, well, now we got to go deal with that. And then the world government's like, or the Revolutionary Army was like, ha, now you have no more warlords, and we're declaring war. Also give us Kuma back. Fuck you, Fire Fist. And it's like, bro, we're 2 admirals. Come at it, you know. But we should put what happened aside for now. So obviously they don't care that much about what happened at Reverie, because it's not that pressing.
Well, especially when you have, the upheaval of possibly 2 emperors coming.
Why do you think Wano is the most pressing right now? It's not their territory. They obviously want to alleviate, but why?
I think it's a couple things. I think, for one, but like Burke said, 2 potentially long-standing legendary pirates who controlled the seas are about to fall. And then also, Nico Robin is on that island.
Right.
And she is one of the single biggest threats to the world government because of her potential knowledge of the Void history.
Right. Do they want Wano because it has a road poneglyph and they know that? Or do they want Wano because this is their only chance to get Wano now that Kaido is going down?
I think there's a lot in
There's
Wano.
a lot in Wano that is just...
I think Wano is honestly central to the world.
Top 3 most pressing things that they want out of there. Nico Robin's one of them. What are just 2 other things that the Goro say
probably
want out of Wano?
poneglyphs.
Right?
And maybe poneglyphs, and then honestly, because they're talking about how the battle's not going the way they thought it would.
Right. They thought maybe the Emperor structure would
Not
be
to mention the
maintained.
fact that there's a D involved in this.
There is.
That's probably... Multiple D's involved in this.
And depending on their meeting with Shanks all that time ago for us
This
now,
could be a part of it. Right?
This could be part of it. If Shanks, the certain pirate he wanted to talk about was Luffy or Blackbeard.
Do you think he would...
I have no idea.
I bet... come on. Luffy has to have been on their radar.
Of course.
He's taken out how many of their warlords at this point?
No, at this point.
Well, also think about who he's related to.
Guard and Dragon.
Dragon and Guard and Dragon.
He was at Marineford. He
Well,
basically said, fuck you.
And there's also the fact that the D's are considered the enemy of the gods, and these guys, they're basically there with the Ten Rubitos.
No, that makes sense. But why would Shanks be like, look, we need to talk about Luffy? This is the guy that you need to put your back behind? I can't imagine he would be there to be like, you need to take this guy out, obviously, right?
Well, if he
Shanks
was even
not that.
he was even talking about Luffy.
That's why. I think if he's talking about Luffy, he's talking about you need to throw your support behind him because he's going to change the world and you want to be on his side. And they were like, no. Or he's like, look, Blackbeard is going to ruin everything and you need to start doing things about him.
I personally think it seems straightforward.
Those are the 2, right?
It seems oddly straightforward, but I think the most likely, not that it might happen, but I think the most likely would be Teach. But it might be even someone we don't even expect.
The lurking legend.
The lurking legend.
Of Wano? Oh, Oda in an interview said a long time ago, oh yeah, and there's this lurking legend in Wano. I can't wait for you all to meet him. Or he just said them, I think specifically. And we're still waiting.
How long ago was that?
This was 2016? This was before Wano.
And you're sure that they haven't been introduced?
Yeah, look up. There was an interview, lurking legend, Wano, Oda comment. So... Nico Robin, if Nico Robin gets her eyes on this next poneglyph, he needs one more, right?
Yep.
We've got Red Mom's red poneglyph, we've got Zoe's, we'll get Kaido's, one more to go, and then we can basically find the One Piece. So Nico Robin's a big part of that.
Oh, for sure.
It wouldn't be out of place for someone to die unexpectedly during a war that involves Kaido and Big Mom. This is our chance to erase that nuisance.
I think they're either referring to Luffy and or Robin.
Oh.
Or Robin.
See, my head went directly to who's who.
I don't think they care enough about a fallen CP Aegis. I think that's more like...
CP Aegis cares about dealing
Well, I know.
with
CP Aegis, I think that's more of a directive within the army. But I think Nico Robin / Luffy, their fates affect the world. In this case, I think it's more likely to be Robin, just because the world government's been hunting her, and they literally said her by name. But who knows?
Isn't that counterintuitive to what Aegis said? Didn't Lucci say capture her?
I don't know.
No, a few chapters.
Well, here's the thing: they were going to execute her, as far as we know.
Right.
So it's weird.
Well, they were going to take her to Impel Down. Right. That was the whole. They didn't kill her at Eni's lobby because they were going to put her in Impel Down for the rest of her life.
Then maybe they're talking about Kaido.
As far as I can tell, by the way, on this lurking legend thing, I think what it was referring to was just about rocks. based on what I'm seeing, was because it was like somebody Lurking Legend was supposedly a new enemy and connected to Whitebeard.
Well, he wouldn't be new.
Just like
He would've
new
been old.
information though, like it depending on the
Maybe that's
translation.
why there's some debate about it, because if it's
No.
a new enemy, it'd be one for Luffy, right? That's connected to
Yeah.
Whitebeard.
Yeah.
Levi?
No, please God, no.
Well, Marco might be able to tell us more about that.
Anyway,
Anyway, that's that comment. It wouldn't be out of place for someone. Do you think they're talking about someone specifically here, or do you think they're just being like vague and?
I do think they have a target, but I don't know who they're talking about.
Well, at the very end, this is our chance to erase that nuisance.
it's probably Nico Robin.
My guess is
But Nico Robin must have been apprehended by now. It's time to act. So I think Nico's out of that conversation with
that's
that
right.
comment.
Well, he's also maybe like
Now it
saying,
wouldn't be out of place for someone to die.
like if she's apprehended, just like then kill her if she's apprehended in that way, and just make it look like it was just a casualty
Why
of the war.
apprehend her? Why apprehend her if the goal
Just
is
to make sure that they can get rid of her.
But I mean,
I don't know if
agree.
the Gorosei and CPA just are on the same.
I-
Because obviously Lucci was asking for her to be apprehended, not 3 or 4 chapters ago.
I agree with Alice that the phrasing is a bit weird.
It's
And
interesting that-
and we'll see what it is tomorrow morning.
Right. Let's see if that changes anything.
Like I'll double check for you. Obviously, we won't be able to retroactively do anything about that for this.
But no, they might actually be referring to.
I'm actually thinking it's less and less who's who, considering that the Gorosei.
No, I'm not thinking who's who.
I'm thinking it's
Who,
less.
who are you thinking, Brock?
I'm thinking they might be referring to. The more I think about it, the more I think maybe Luffy. But I don't know.
But if he beats Kaido, isn't that good for them?
Not necessarily. It just means another one's taking up the.
To be fair, if
It just throws the world into more chaos. I mean, you saw
if he
how it
beats
was.
Kaido, they annex Wano. They have Wano now, right?
Or maybe they want to kill Momonosuke.
But look at what happened with the death of Whitebeard. The government thought that that would be an ultimate victory where they would just stop the age of piracy. And don't get me wrong, a lot of this was spurred on by
Shame
Whitebeard.
about that speech that Buggy recorded of Whitebeard.
Yeah, exactly. Of him being like,
Didn't expect that.
One Piece is real. But if this rookie who started out 2 years ago takes down an emperor and people by proxy under him, because we're all of the agreement at this point that when Luffy wins and if Big Mom also falls, they'll just blame it on Luffy. And,
Yeah.
and Law and Kid won't even get the credit.
More than likely not.
More than
yeah.
likely.
They'll be considered as underlings.
They'll be
probably.
considered underlings. But if Luffy beats Kaido, and if and when, do you not think that won't just put more people on the path of, man, this rookie from 2 years ago made his big name. Well, what's he worth?
I think yeah. Yeah.
I just think I just think that spurs even more pirates.
But at the same time, it's just hard to tell.
Yeah, for sure.
This is our
Who knows?
This is our chance to erase that. I'm just trying to think of who is the most nuisance to the Gorosei.
I am still holding out that is just Nico Robin they're talking about, and the wording's weird.
Hold off. Okay, the seas around Wano. Fuck. There's a great giant shadow. What is it? No idea. An island. Don't care about. We know that's Zunisha. That's impossible. Fuck this entire dialogue. That fruit is nothing but a legend now, even for us. It hasn't awakened for centuries.
Yeah, and I will definitely send the end translation for this.
If they're even better. But yeah,
I doubt it will
if they're
be.
not better. How else do you explain the world government giving a specific devil fruit a unique name? They were hiding the fruit's true name, from the annals of history. Why is that dialogue over Zunisha? That's the only thing that throws me. If that was just another panel of them talking and then we saw Zunisha, that'd be fine. But why the fuck is that bit?
Well, that's the thing. Is like, what fucking fruit could they even be talking about? And is it one that we know of at this point that's just going by another name?
Well, and also
Because it can't be the darkness or the fucking Gura no Mi.
I think it.
I don't think so.
I think it directly deals with Zunisha.
The fruit is nothing.
Perhaps.
Because we don't know shit about Zunisha.
Is Zunisha a fucking devil fruit user?
Who knows? We don't know shit about Zunisha. Literally.
They were hiding the fruit's true name from the annals of history.
All I know is that part of me. So here's my thing with Zunisha right now. Is so obviously.
Oh, I've got fucking theories.
Momonosuke has a very clear connection with Zunisha.
Anzo, yeah.
Anzo. Part of me thinks
Give me
that it's so weird because you talk about that earlier when Luffy was beaten and Momo's hearing voices in his head. And
Yeah.
one of like I'm actually almost at the point where maybe he heard two voices. Because think of it.
I remember what you're talking about.
Luffy was the only other person who first off had a connection with Zunisha, whatever.
Heard it but couldn't talk to it.
Heard it but couldn't talk to it.
Yeah.
But maybe Luffy was like tapping into that for his message to Momo, but maybe Momo also heard Zunisha in that moment. And I think the voice where he was like, "Who are you?" was Luffy because it was so new to him. If it was Zunisha for that first bit, it would have definitely been something he was probably familiar with feeling wise.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to throw these questions out.
Go ahead.
You guys answer them, and then I will supply my own if I need to. Is Zunisha here because Zunisha is a savior, or because Zunisha is not a savior?
I think Zunisha.
Savior.
I think Zunisha.
I do not. Look. Okay. No, perfectly fair answer. Could totally be right. This depiction of Zunisha is so fucking dark looking.
That's just how Zunisha looks.
I know. I do know.
I think it's being drawn from like as if we were the government right now, never seen this thing before.
Do you remember? And again, this is maybe tinfoil hat on my
You are
part.
going very tinfoil, in my opinion.
Do you remember when Blackbeard came to Marineford?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the first one we noticed?
Yeah, Sam Wolf.
Ooh. This larger-than-life, huge thing hiding behind all of Marineford. And then Blackbeard coming out of the fucking mist. Ha ha ha! They noticed us! Oh no!
Do you think Blackbeard's on it?
I don't know. But this Zunisha... Look, answer me this. Why the fuck is Zunisha walking towards Wano?
I personally think there's a connection that we have not yet established, but I think his history is tied directly to the history of the world, maybe to Momonosuke's line, maybe to Wano's history even.
No, it is. Kozuki and Zo have quite the history together, right? That's the entire
I'm
thing.
talking about Zunisha itself.
Okay. Who drives Zunisha? Nobody, right? Zunisha just walks. Mm-hmm. It was given a command a long-ass time ago because of a punishment or crime that it committed. Please look this up because this is all true.
No, I know.
Because I
remember
rewatched Zo.
I remember that.
And it begged Momonosuke, when Jack was attacking it, to give it a command to fight back. It hasn't been told to do anything else. Its entire time walking, it's only allowed to walk. So Momo said, attack. Get rid of them. And Zunisha fucking went in and destroyed Jack's boat, and it got healed up and just kept walking. Why now, and again, there's so many reasons, I just don't know any of them, is it walking in this direction, specifically to Wano, right up on the world government ships, like this?
Well, my first guess would be its connection with Momo.
Mm-hmm.
Did Momo asked it to come?
Or it might have sensed Momo's need.
Like right now, what is Momo doing? Momo is currently trying to
Lift up Onigashima.
lift up or just
clouds.
stop Onigashima in some way, shape, or form. And he's doing a lot of talking to himself. And that voice of all things could be reaching out to Zunisha, which maybe Zunisha was already on its way here in some way, shape, or form to fulfill some sort of ancient debt to the Kozuki, because obviously the Minks and the Kozuki have been blood brothers for some time now.
How many mink left Zo initially?
I think that there's still a decent number of mink
like
on Zo.
the kids, like the children, like the.
I think there's still warriors.
There's still some.
I don't think the full brunt of the minks all came.
I think they sent their strongest to
I think they
Wano.
definitely sent their strongest.
So why would Zunisha bring their not strongest into this war zone with? I'm just trying to think this through.
When all the enemies are currently weakened and or just kind of on their last breaths, just any sort of fucking extra troop backing is going to help.
Sure.
Go ahead, Brock.
I'm willing to bet. No money, of course, just free betting.
Bragging rights.
That Zunisha is responding in the same way that the Sea Kings responded to Shirahoshi's need.
Mm-hmm.
That's my belief. Because I believe she and Momonosuke can both hear the voice of all things.
It's so you read over the freaking history and the relationship it had with Momonosuke back when Jack came back again.
Yep.
Jack and his fleet were attacking it. Zunisha worried about the minks dying if it were to fall into the sea and begged Kozuki Momonosuke to allow it to fight before this happened. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm sorry, but clearly Zunisha has some sort of relationship, some sort of allegiance to Momonosuke,
or at least some care for those under its care.
Yeah.
Over its
So,
care.
while it was sentenced, and you were correct, obviously, it was sentenced to watch the sea for eternity and only act upon being ordered to do so for committing an unspecified crime.
Right. Here's my thing.
I think you're reading too much into how Zunisha is drawn here, because the way I look at it from this perspective, it's drawn from the perspective of the government. You've never seen this fucking thing before in your fucking life, and all of a sudden there's this giant fucking elephant coming out of nowhere, and you have no idea if it's friend, foe, or other.
I would think that was foe.
If you're a world government, at this point, they should be horrified.
Yeah.
They should be fucking horrified.
They should.
And I hope that they get the fucking Jack treatment in, the next couple of chapters.
Doesn't get jacked up.
So if we're clear, then there's definitely no admiral on these ships. Because that was one of the things...
Could be an admiral?
That's the thing. We theorized that maybe Ryokyogu makes his appearance in Wano as, freeing him. But if this is going to come through to wipe all these boys out, there ain't nobody important.
Well, here's the thing. Part of the fact is we didn't expect this appearance at all.
No.
So we don't know what's going to happen.
That's why I'm so thrown. And maybe I'm reading Oda all wrong. But he's hard to predict.
I would say your style of reading into Oda is kind of similar to Mr. Morge's, and that's not to throw shade on... Obviously, both of you like to think a lot more outside the box on a lot of these things. I tend to just believe that at this point, this is a savior, this is a... Here comes the cavalry, this is a Gandalf on the hill moment for Wano, where we get a few more... First off, we're going to wipe... I think it's going to wipe out this current fleet that's trying to invade Wano. And then we bring in a couple able-bodied, ready to just do whatever cleanup they need to do minks. Which they won't really need to do too much, in my opinion, at this point. The only thing I was worried about was this world government fleet, in my opinion. That's the way I read it. That's the way I look at it.
It looks like hope, and that's why I don't believe it's hope. But again, that could be so wrong. Here's the thing. And this is, I think, probably the last thing I'll say on the Zunisha thing. Do you remember a long time ago when Blackbeard was on the move? His line was, well, if the world government's just going to leave it, then why wouldn't I take it for myself? And that was the last time we saw him before he and his crew headed off.
Yep. Couldn't tell you.
I have no clue. I have no clue what that is. And I'm not saying it's Zunisha, but wouldn't that be a bitch way for him to enter?
Absolutely, it would be a bitch way for him to enter the scene right now. But I don't think that Blackbeard's coming to Wano. I just don't.
I also feel like that's not true. No, I feel like Blackbeard isn't coming. I don't know how I feel if Blackbeard was here. Because, if he's here for,
Kaido! I'm ready for my final fruit!
You know, that whole 3 foot thing?
Yeah. 3
guns, 3 skulls. There's no greater fucking mythic Zoan than fucking Kaido. If he didn't take Marcos...
That we know of.
He had a chance of... In my opinion, Marcos is pretty fucking great. But, Kaido's destruction-wise...
Yes.
Fuck.
No, absolutely.
If he doesn't want Kaidos and he doesn't want Big Moms, right? What's he going after?
That's the whole thing. It's
So I don't know. I'm seeing the super shadowed version of...
I think that would be such a huge fuck you to us, personally if Blackbeard came here.
Did you feel like you were like fuck you when Whitebeard died by Blackbeard's hand? Because
No.
that fucking well, it hurt me a lot. I would initially I was like, oh. But like
Yeah, but
no,
the line of events that like bring
sense.
Blackbeard back to Marineford
The
makes
difference,
sense.
the difference there is that Whitebeard died when he was ready to die.
Mm-hmm.
He died at the turn of a generation. This is the turn of a world-changing event.
Yeah.
That I don't think it should be upstaged.
Blackbeard always seems to be at those though, doesn't he?
I would say I
For
I
sure,
can at least
for
get
sure.
that
No,
thought.
yeah.
Like you're telling me that this is the one place Blackbeard's gonna be like, ah.
I don't think he has control over Zunisha though.
Okay, you want me to really go Mr. Morge on you? Because I'm actually holding back right now. Can I just full on?
Yeah. Go off.
You know what? I'm going to throw this out there, and if
we
I'm
will-
wrong, I
and
can't
we-
wait to be
and
wrong.
we will just let you go off, and we'll give our opinion. Go ahead.
Are you guys ready for this shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zunisha was killed. Moria put a really powerful shadow of someone into Zunisha. That's why it's so freaking dark. And that's the battleship they went after.
Let me add to your theory here. Moria wasn't the one who did it. They killed Moria, took his fruit, gave it to somebody else.
Well, that joining thing was kind of interesting because he didn't kill Moria right. He's like, "Do you want to join my crew? I killed your fucking friend, but you can have his body back if you join my crew." I don't know. It could have been Moria because Moria is a master of his fruit. And if you're gonna, it's like having a new Oars.
True.
Having a Zunisha is having like a 3 times version of Oars.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay, I will give you a 20% on that. I will give you a 20% chance of that happening.
I think that's incredibly insane. But you know what? You brought Zunisha to Wano, Oda. That's what I'm going to give you. This incredibly dark version looking Zunisha is here to bring some serious horror. Maybe they're taking out the world government. Fuck, Blackbeard was trying to destroy all of Marineford at Marineford as well. Before like everyone was like, fuck you, Blackbeard. Shanks was there, fucking Sengoku. Why not bring the most gigantic island elephant nation to Wano in this most terrible, treacherous time and take anything else that he wants?
So I
sound like a crazy person.
You look like one right now. You're just going, clean your hair out.
Look, as crazy as that theory was,
You know what?
I will give it a lot more credence than I would. Like, I have expected, like, the most insane. Rox D. Zebek is on the back of Zunisha, and he's coming down, and he's going to repeat the God Valley incident, and actually it's going to be revealed that through Toki's fruit, God Valley was actually Wano from the voice. Like, that's what I expected to come out of your mouth. Not your theory, at least. Like, I could follow that logic as to why that would be possible.
You know how there's the tragedy in Kabuki plays?
Yes, of course.
It really
We're still on this whole, will Acts 3 ever actually end?
and if it ends, it should end in a tragedy.
Based on what we are supposed to get,
Right.
yes.
Would there be no greater tragedy than our friend, our hope, Zunisha and the Zo coming and rescuing Wano? And it's fucking Mugiwara. I told you weren't ready. And then just Zunisha coming in. And Brock, you're looking at me like I'm a crazy person.
No.
I
I'm
think
thinking.
he's
I'm just
I
thinking.
think he's either just...
Actually, Brock, we've been talking. I've
So
talked way too much.
your hair is so disheveled.
I know.
Dude, he literally looks like
Aliens!
he's the Pepe Silva meme right now. It's
See the lines, guys!
it's insane.
No, I agree that is a lot more likely than than a lot of other things. Now that you've gone to in depth, I would give it a 15-20% chance. I still am of the thought that I don't think that's how Oda would end Zunisha, in my opinion. That doesn't really follow. Like, usually you see the end coming, and I don't see that happening right here. If that, like, here's a headcanon, a different version of headcanon I had that I thought possible was like Zunisha comes in, stops them, but there is an admiral. Admiral kills Zunisha, but helps drive the admiral away. Minks move to Wano. That's a little headcanon thing that I think is a potential alternate.
I could see that.
Zunisha is incredibly old.
Yes, and that's why I think if anything, you kill her and out.
That'd be worse.
That'd be sad.
That'd be.
But I mean, honestly,
that'd be
100
some
times
more-
worse
that'd
than
be
the,
some-
than the Mary.
but I would honestly, I would
appreciate.
appreciate that more than him being off screen like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I feel like it would be more Oda style for like Zunisha fulfilling its goal of saving the Kazuki line, saving Wano, or whatever it is that they're doing, whatever they're serving penance for. I think it would be a fitting end to Zunisha.
And also, hasn't the Zoe and the Mings been through enough at this point?
Exactly.
Jesus.
But I think it'd be nice that they had some place where they could settle in that case. But I mean, obviously that's
the thing is if Zunisha dies here, then the Minks transplant themselves into Wano, and that's the first great act of opening the country is that they allow all these.
I think it would be a very cool change to Wano by the end of it because
Absolutely.
So like I said, I definitely give some credence to that theory, but it just doesn't. I'm not one to say what his style is, but just up to now, that hasn't been Oda's style to just off-screen something like that.
Unless it's Absalom and everybody fucking hated him, so it was fine that he off-screen.
Absalom, Absalom, nobody cared. Everyone loves Zunisha.
I think Absalom got cancel cultured at
Absolutely. No, absolutely. In the
Oda
time,
was looking at
in
his
the
work
time-
from that. He's like, oh.
In the time between when we last saw Absalom
Yeah, I gotta
in
kill
pre-time skip to when it was revealed that he was dead, it's like the Me Too movement. I'm pretty sure had happened in real life.
It's like,
by then.
Oda's like, I should really kill
So
that
it's
character.
that
give us
character
for
needs to
somewhere
go,
else.
and I need to make Sanji much better than he was, in Fishman Island.
No, I mean,
Sorry to goof on Sanji.
No, but I do see Zunisha possibly dying, but I see it dying in a much more worthy way of one who who served 1,000 years of penance
or whatever the hell it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think something better will come out of it.
And I think dying in a way that helps Momonosuke save his country, the way it helped, Momonosuke basically gave Zunisha the permission to save itself.
Do you guys think Zunisha's big enough to step over Wano, and when Onigashima comes down, it just crushes
That's the thing, is that was my other theory. I almost felt like Zunisha might help stop the island, and that's one of the other reasons it's on its way, is because Momo doesn't think he'll make it in time, and maybe Zunisha comes, and all the Minks are able to move, and that way it can take the brunt of
the explosion,
or just it can hold it up essentially, Atlas style.
But I am of the personal belief that here's the thing, Alex. The shading on Zunisha, that looks just like him in the anime. He always looks like that.
Oh, I know.
It's
just so dark.
I know, and that's because he's super old. His eyes are hollowed out.
Believe me, I know.
Yeah.
Dude, if I'm being 100% with myself, 90% theory, it's just hopeful, and Zunisha's here to do some good shit, and the Zoe we're gonna celebrate at the giant festival.
But it's always fun to get those really crazy ones off your chest.
But man, if it's something darker, even if it's just a little something darker. Okay, final question before we end. They were hiding the fruit's true name from the annals of history. What fruit?
I don't think it's a fruit we know, personally.
I don't think it's one that's been talked about yet.
I don't think we know its true name. I think we know it by a different name. Personally.
Well, what are your thoughts?
Op or Gomu Gomu? Initially, that's just what I think.
I'm thinking Zunisha is directly related to it.
It hasn't awakened for centuries. That's the word that gets me. I think it's been eaten, and I don't think any user of it has awakened in centuries.
Maybe Zunisha's finally fully awakened.
Awakened. That is also a key word.
Hasn't awakened.
Are they literally meaning the awakening of the devil fruit? Like that person's eaten it, but they can't awaken the true power? Or is it the awakening, in the sense that this devil fruit's been asleep and not active in the world in any way, shape, or form?
My general conclusion is that it directly connects to Zunisha. That's just my theory for now, until otherwise informed.
I can't let it be the Gomu Gomu in my head, just because I think we're getting a little too much of that Luffy Chosen One vibe.
That context that Who's Who gave us about guarding that specific fruit, Shanks stealing, and now Yonko stealing that specific fruit, and then Luffy eating it because of anger, It was just left out there. But again, a lot of shit happened in the first episode that people are kind of like, yeah, well, Shang should have had arm in Haki. We shouldn't have bit off his arm. What the fuck? Right? We can forgive a lot of that. But if that was just genuinely a mistake on his part, and now this kid has a rubber fruit, Garp hide him with bandits so people don't find. I just feel like the who's who thing, guarding it, failing, impel down, this whole, I think it just has to connect. The weirdest thing about this whole thing...
Oh.
Go ahead.
Thomas Fruit. Thomas Fruit's the only other one I think it could be, but it's so specific. That's the only problem I have with it.
Who said... Someone said something about maybe Tama took some of her cheek and somehow Zunisha ate it. And that's why Zunisha's... Oh, shit, wait, no.
Oh?
Ryan said this. That's not what he said, though. He said Oh, I don't know how crazy this is.
You look pretty crazy as
You're talking with your hands a lot here,
Listen, a past user of Thomas Fruit
Okay.
plucked this thing and gave it to Zunisha. They died, but Zunisha is still loyal to the next fruit user that eats it, which is Tama, which is why Zunisha's making her way there now.
What if that's the punishment? What if that was the punishment? What if somebody, however long ago when Zunisha was commanded to walk forever, wander forever, it was Tama's Fruit's, first user. I can see that. I like that. I like that idea.
Now, does that connect to the fruit's name, which was changed? Because Dongo seems like a really stupid name for a fruit that can kind of control anything bestial.
Kibi Dongo. Jeez.
What's the fruit's name? Dongo? Kibi no?
It's just the Kibi Dongo.
That sounds like a silly fruit
I don't
name.
know this.
It could be like
Every
something.
fruit name
Any
sounds
beast,
stupid.
any fucking beast. Does this work on Sea Kings? Do you know?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I just again.
I do think
I'm
there's-
holding that everything's about Luffy.
I do think that there is something special about Tama and her fruit.
I hate that it's over Zunisha though. That's what throws me.
But I'm gonna retain my thought that it's directly connected to Zunisha, or Zunisha might be in fact the fruit or the fruit user of some kind, because Zunisha in his own way has not been awake. He's just been walking from the looks of it. So I don't know.
Awake.
But I don't know.
Hasn't awakened for centuries.
We're almost at an hour and a half.
I know. We're almost done.
This is a long one.
Well, look at the chapter, man. There's an elephant.
The elephant is the reason.
They were hiding the fruit's true name from the annals of history. I'm just getting caught on that. I feel like... Here's the thing. Here's the thing with the ending of this chapter. There's enough information that I'm like, I'm missing something. Like, we know there's things we're missing, but we know what it is. And I just can't get there. Because Luffy's in my fucking way. Law's in my fucking way. There's a fucking elephant in my way. Like...
I mean, don't get me wrong. That was why when I saw this chapter, I did my reaction the way I did. There was so much here that wasn't on the table a chapter ago for me.
Yeah.
A legend now, even for... what's a legend to the Gorosei? These fucking timeless heads of the government.
Well, they're not timeless. You
don't subscribe to the whole they're immortal
I don't
theory?
just subscribe to them being immortal yet. Obviously, if time reveals that they are, cool.
They look exactly the same when they're talking about Ohara during the Ohara incident as they do now. I'm just saying. There's no aging.
That's just how old people work in anime.
Whoop slap looked younger, and then when Luffy left, he looked older.
Whitey Bay looked the same back
In is immortal. I'm gonna hold on that one.
Maybe. Whitey Bay looked the same in the fucking Odin flashback, if you ask me, if I recall.
She's timeless.
Yeah, exactly.
Hot people always are.
Yeah, the girls say are hot. Those are some gilfs.
To be fair, the one guy... Godfathers, I'd like to... Pretty much.
Anyway,
it's a long
no,
episode.
it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to discuss.
And your hair is really disheveled.
You
look crazy.
I can't wait to go to bed.
Audience, I wish you could see this.
I have to be up in 7 hours to work out with you!
But
so do I.
I know.
But that's the thing, is just ultimately this chapter, I I'm not happy there's a break, but at the same time, I am happy there's a break.
What's your process?
There's some time to process this, and I mean, I will watch the Rogers Base read through in the morning. I will reread the actual official release of this chapter. And then we've got so many other creators that are making content on this, so it'll be nice to hear other opinions, and I do think we had a good discussion of differing opinions here.
So many.
Without turning into just a complete echo chamber.
Are there
Which we never do. I feel like we all have a very good difference when it comes to what we think One Piece will do.
Are there just 4 ships?
There's probably a couple
It
more.
looks like there's just 4 ships.
I think there's more.
Like, there's 4 here, and then if you go up, there's 4 here.
4 ships is not enough to subdue an entire country.
There's
There's 5,000 on each one.
If they're Buster calling the country, then, I think it's only, 5, 10?
Again, world government ships are different than marine ships. Because they say world government on them, and they have the whole thing, right? They're different. We don't necessarily have admirals or any marines on these boats.
Who knows?
They could all just be CP people.
It's-
This CP hat guy looks like
I mean, that's
CP.
the hardest thing when you get into, the CPs, and, this, sorry to go off on more, but, you get off on the CPs, you get off on the Marines, the world government, it's so weird what...
I get off on
blends-
sword.
Okay.
I get off on sword.
Yeah, please
You're welcome.
don't.
Go ahead.
Anyway, horny jail bomb. It's so hard when you're trying to talk about what overlaps with what is controlled by who. Obviously the world government, its supreme leaders are the Gorosei and by proxy above them.
Well, Cypher Pole is directly under the world government.
MD King. I'm D King.
Oh my
MD
god.
King. It's a great.
Oh my god, I'm gonna kill you.
But you agree, right?
No. Anyway, yeah.
MD King man.
MD King.
But anyway, I think there's more than the 4 ships. I just think in that panel there was the 4.
Yeah.
Because I don't think 4 is enough for them to subdue even the remaining samurai, unless they have admirals.
Well, if we're assuming that everyone's taking each other out on Onigashima, there wouldn't be that many people left to protect Wano, right? No, most of them went into the raid, right?
Exactly.
Samurai versus...
No, you're correct.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, the people who at this point they realize Kaido is taken down and then they just take up arms just because.
Yeah.
Dude, we just got rid of one dictator. Get the fuck out.
No, we're gonna do democracy. But he's your king. But we'll do democracy.
Right.
In 4 years, you can. Okay. 10:37. Not far from done, but we're done for the evening.
Yeah.
We'll see you all in 10:38.
2 weeks.
So let's see how much your hair is shit by
He's going bald.
If I'm wrong, I'm gonna show you.
He's going bald.
now. Don't say that. And okay.
He's gonna need Foxy to use the slow fruit on his balding.
This is a podcast. What I do to my appearance doesn't have to change anything.
Well, alright.
10:37. SHURON HAKKE. See you all.
And cut.
All right, listeners, that concludes this episode of the Yonko Podcast. Yeah. With that, see you all next time on the Yonko Podcast Head Review 1038 in 2 weeks. All right, boys, we're off.